we shift our attention to Parshat Ki Tisa, next Parsha. And at the same time, I wanted to talk today that there are some connections that one can make between Ki Tisa and the what we will be celebrating tonight, the holiday of Purim. The Ki Tisa, of course, begins with this idea of the census that's taken, the half shekel. Each Jew brings this machatzita shekel, this half shekel. It's going to pay for sacrifices. So the sacrifices come from everybody evenly. It's not the sacrifice brought to you by the whatever hush of a family it might be. It's going to come equally from everybody to census. Every Jew gives a half a coin, the rich and poor alike. Ashir lo yarbev, adal lo yamit. The rich don't give more, the poor don't give less. It's coming to everybody now. Tonight we celebrate Purim, where we there's a collection oftentimes machatzit shekel. We remember, we take the half shekel ceremoniously. We're giving it because it was collected now in advance of Pesach and sort of the Rosh Chodesh Nisan and sort of the new year that Nisan represents. And in the book of Esther, we have Haman, when he wants to destroy the Jewish people, he offers aseret alafim kikar kesef. He offers 10,000 talents of silver to, I don't know, finance the army or whatever it might be. He gives it to Achashverosh to allow him to destroy the Jewish people. And there's rabbinic teaching that puts the two together. The rabbis talk about how the shkalim of Israel preceded Haman's shkalim. Haman believes that Jewish existence is transactional. He thinks he can use some money and he can erase the Jews. Parshat Ki Tisa, seemingly by the Midrash putting the two together, is saying just the opposite. Every Jew counts. Every Jew gives the same amount of money. Every Jew is incomplete alone. We are only a half. The half shekel creates a collective identity before crisis even appears. Purim shows what can happen when that unity is attacked. Haman sees us as a people who are mifuzar umiforad bein ha'amim, right? He's part of the reason he gives to Achashverosh as to why he can kill the Jewish people is that they are spread out. They don't listen to the laws. But what the Machatzit Shekel is supposed to be telling us is that each and every one of us on our own is only a piece of the puzzle. We're only part of it. Machatzit Shekel turns us into one indivisible whole. So when it says, the Midrash talks about our shekel comes before the Aseret Alafim Kikar Kesef, 10,000 silver talents, silver coins. What it's saying is it's a metaphysical difference. Communal wholeness defeats the fragmentation, the genocidal fragmentation of Haman, and that's it's an interesting thing to think about. We have a Jewish world that's very split on ideas, whether it be religious questions, whether it be questions of Israel, but ultimately, right, the Machatzit Shekel is trying to tell us that we're only part of the whole. And it's only when we can believe in that collective identity together, as much as we don't always agree upon everything, that maybe we are able to defeat Haman. In a similar way, we're talking about this, this counting. One of the things that's important about the Parshat Ki Tisa, we see this later on in other places in the Tanakh. We talked about it certainly when David counts the Jewish people. You're not allowed to count. The Torah says you're not allowed to count. It's part of the idea of the Machatzit Shekel. It's a census, but the census is taken by giving a half a coin. It's a way that we count that's supposed to preserve dignity. The understanding is that a plague happens, at least again, that happens during the lifetime of David, and we're acknowledging people's infinite worths through you're a piece of the puzzle, but without you, right, our people is not complete if we don't have your half a shekel. Even though you might be you might think of yourself as a schlepper and not an important person, if you don't bring your coin, then it's not the same. It's not understood as being the same thing. And Purim, Haman does the opposite, right? The Jewish people are a statistic. They're a demographic. They're part of the greater people, but we're not going to look at them individually. Each person right? They're a political problem. They don't listen to our laws. They are a minority that can be easily destroyed. They're expendable. So Ki Tisa is trying to teach us that each Jew is not a number. Each Jew is a sacred contributor to the Mishkan. Purim shows the dangers when Jews, or other people for that matter, are viewed as numbers in an imperial spreadsheet of how many people there are, how many of this, how much they listen to these laws, how distinct they are, etc. So in the Purim, we read the Megillah publicly and loudly. We're saying every word. We're erasing Amalek's name. We amplify the Jewish identity and the Jewish people. Kitisa teaches how to count Jews properly, not a statistic, not everybody together, but each person is a contributor. Each person puts in their little bit that makes up the entirety of the Jewish people, and that's the way we have to look at ourselves and our people. Later on, if we go deeper into the parsha, we could say that there's another sort of connection one might pick out, which is the end of parsha Ki Tisa. In the middle of the parsha, we have the Chet HaEgel, parsha Ki Tisa, right? Truma and Tetzaveh. We have the Mishkan, mostly Truma. Tetzaveh, continue with the Mishkan, which is with the mostly about the big day Kuhuna and the inauguration of Aaron. We spoke about last week at length. Then we get into Ki Tisa, and we continue with the Mishkan. The Jewish people are going to have to bring the Machatzita Shekel, right? These half shekels, and then the story is broken up with the terrible incident of the golden calf. Bnei Yisrael thinking that Moshe is late, and they go and they construct this golden calf and dance around it, whether they worship the calf directly or they worship the calf as a means to worship God. It's seen as a terrible sin. Now, what happens after the Chet HaEgel is Moshe's comes down and his face is very radiant. The Torah says that Moshe pays a masveh. He places like a veil in front of his face, because his face was so radiant and so shiny that the Jewish people couldn't look at Moshe directly. Moshe, in a sense, becomes partially obscured or hidden. Now think about Purim. In the book of Esther, we know God's name doesn't appear. God's name is not in Megillat Esther. Esther herself, the whole idea is Esther, at least for much of the book, keeps her identity hidden. Ki Tisa ends with this hidden face of Moshe. Purim is about a hidden face, whether it be Esther hiding her identity, whether it be hiding that, Mordechai, who Mordechai is to her. God is hidden from the Megillah. And if we think about what happens in the aftermath of the golden calf, God says that the Jewish people are going to get their reckoning. It's not just going to happen now. I'm not going to punish them all the way, but unfortunately, it's kind of like a stain. You get the stain on your shirt, and you can get the OxyClean, get the whatever it is. But a little piece of that stain remains forever, and that's the way the rabbis understood the punishments of the golden calf, as it's sort of this reckoning that the stain, unfortunately, never wipes away fully. So before the Egel HaZahav, right, what do we have? We have open revelation, we have thunder, we have lightning, we have our Sinai, we have God together with the Jewish people. Afterwards, there's more concealment. The relationship continues, but Moshe's face is hidden. God is somewhat hidden, right? The idea that the God is only going to send his angel with the Jewish people than rather himself. And Purim, you can understand as being that way as well. Purim is the covenant looks like after the concealment. There are no open miracles, right? There's no splitting of the Red Sea. There's no water turning into blood. There's political maneuvering. There's insomnia. There's paperwork. There's the deliberations and the careful planning we talked about on Friday of Esther and how she reveals, when she reveals. And so that's a major change that we have here. It's a change indicated in the Torah where God says to the Jewish people, Hester, Astir, Panai Mehem. Later on in Dvarim, when the curses, I will hide my face away from you. So kitisa, unfortunately, second half, we're not with God, the Machatzit Shekel, in the same way. We're not at the in the temple in the same way. There's this sense of hiddenness as part of relationships, and that becomes difficult. But that happens sometimes in life. You're everything. It's an ideal, and then sometimes things fall from the ideal. And how do we navigate that ideal? How do we live in a world where there is a sense of hiddenness? It's a different axis. It's not saying it's saying how do we live all of a sudden when things are very, very different for the Jewish people, and that's what's going on here in one could say in connecting Kitisa and Purim. So there are some different lessons. The parshiot are not it's not a direct link, one could say, from Kitisa to Purim, but some different themes and different thoughts that we can have as we head our way into Purim. Also, keeping ourselves looking forward to this coming Shabbat, where we will read. So, wish you all a wonderful, joyous Purim and Megillah reading tonight, and look to forward to seeing you tomorrow for the Megillah reading on that day as well.